The sound of champagne corks popping echoed through the hallway as I packed my office. My brothers, Michael and David, were already celebrating with the board members. To a stronger future. I heard Michael toast, his voice carrying that smug tone I'd grown to hate. If they thought forcing me out would be the end of my story, they were about to learn a very expensive lesson in underestimating the wrong person. I'm Catherine Sullivan, and this is how I turned my brother's betrayal into their worst nightmare. 1 year ago, I was the CFO of Sullivan Technologies, our family's $50 million software company. Founded by our father 30 years ago, it had grown from a small startup in our garage to one of the most promising tech firms in the industry. Each of us siblings held equal shares and executive positions, Michael as CEO, David as COO, and me as CFO. The problem? I saw the future of technology differently than my brothers did. We need to invest in sustainable tech, I argued during our last major board meeting. The market is shifting. Our clients are demanding greener solutions. Michael rolled his eyes, a gesture he'd perfected since childhood. There you go again, Cat. Always trying to save the world instead of focusing on profits. The projections clearly show. I started, but David cut me off. The projections show what you want them to show, he sneered. We need to focus on immediate returns, not your tree-hugging fantasies. I looked around the boardroom, seeking support from the other members. These were people I'd worked with for years, people who'd watched me grow up in this company. But their eyes were fixed on their tablets, deliberately avoiding my gaze. That should have been my first warning. The next day, I received an email scheduling an emergency board meeting. When I arrived, Michael and David were already there, along with our corporate lawyer and the entire board. Catherine, Michael began, his voice professionally distant. The board has concerns about the direction of the company under the current leadership structure. I felt my stomach drop. This was a coup, and I hadn't seen it coming. Our investors are worried, David added, sliding a document across the table. They feel the company needs stronger leadership. The document was a buyout offer for my shares. The amount was insultingly low. This is ridiculous, I said, pushing the paper back. My shares are worth at least triple this. Michael shrugged. Take it or face a vote of no confidence. Either way, you're out. I looked around the room again, this time seeing the truth in their faces. My brothers had been planning this for months, quietly turning the board against me. All those private meetings, I said slowly. The late-night strategy sessions I wasn't invited to. You've been orchestrating this from the start. Business is business, Cat, David said, not even trying to hide his satisfaction. You're too soft for this world. Always have been. The vote was unanimous. Within an hour, I was packing my office while they celebrated down the hall. 15 years of my life, packed into a single cardboard box. As I walked out of the building that had been my second home, I heard the cleaning staff whispering. They'd heard about my ouster and were genuinely upset. Maria, who'd been with us since the beginning, had tears in her eyes. Miss Catherine, she said, hugging me. What they did to you, it's not right. That's when I noticed something interesting. While the board and executives were celebrating my departure, the actual employees, the people who made the company run, were angry about it. That night, as I sat in my apartment staring at the pitiful buyout check, I made a decision. My brothers thought I was too soft? Too focused on sustainability and employee welfare? Fine. I'd show them exactly how those soft values could become their worst nightmare. The next morning, I called Marcus Zhang, a brilliant programmer who'd left Sullivan Technologies 6 months earlier after my brothers rejected his innovative ideas. Marcus, I said when he picked up, how would you like to help me build something revolutionary? There was a pause. I'm listening. Over coffee, I laid out my vision. A new tech company focused entirely on sustainable solutions and employee-first policies. Everything my brothers had dismissed as soft and unrealistic. The market is ready for this, I explained, showing him the research I'd been gathering. Companies are desperate for green tech solutions, but nobody's offering the full package. Marcus leaned back, his eyes sparking with interest. You're talking about direct competition with Sullivan Technologies. Better, I smiled. I'm talking about making them obsolete. Within a week, we had our core team. Marcus as CTO, Sarah Chun, a former Sullivan Technologies sales director who'd quit over my brother's aggressive tactics, as COO, and me as CEO. We called ourselves Green Horizon Technologies. The first few months were brutal. We worked out of my apartment, living on coffee and determination. But we had something Sullivan Technologies didn't: a genuine mission, and the loyalty of people who believed in it. Word spread quickly through the industry. Former Sullivan Technologies employees, tired of my brother's toxic leadership, started reaching out. Clients, frustrated with the company's outdated approaches, began inquiring about our services. 6 months in, we landed our first major contract, ironically, with one of Sullivan Technologies' biggest clients. "Your brothers are furious," my former assistant, now our HR director, told me. "They're threatening to sue for client poaching." I smiled. "Let them. We haven't done anything illegal. We're just better." By month 8, Green Horizon had grown to 100 employees, many of them former Sullivan Technologies staff. Our sustainable solutions were winning awards and attention. Meanwhile, Sullivan Technologies was struggling to retain both talent and clients. Then came the opportunity I'd been waiting for. "Sullivan Technologies stock is plummeting," Sarah announced during our morning meeting. "They're losing contracts left and right. The board is panicking." I checked our numbers. We were now valued at $75 million, surpassing Sullivan Technologies' current market value. It was time. I had my assistant schedule a meeting with Sullivan Technologies' board, not telling them who it was with. The look on Michael and David's faces when I walked into their boardroom was priceless. "What are you doing here?" Michael demanded, half rising from his chair. I smiled, setting my briefcase on the table. "Offering to buy you out." David laughed, but it sounded hollow. "You're joking." "Actually," I said, sliding documents across the table, "I'm very serious. Green Horizon Technologies is prepared to acquire Sullivan Technologies for $60 million. That's more than generous, given your current market position." "This is absurd," Michael sputtered. "We're not selling to you." I opened my laptop, pulling up a presentation. "In the past year, you've lost 40% of your market share. Your top talent is leaving in droves. 3 of your biggest clients have already signed with us, and 5 more are in negotiations." I looked around the room, meeting each board member's eyes. Meanwhile, Green Horizon's value has grown to $75 million. We have a 6-month waiting list of clients, and our employee satisfaction rate is 95%. The board members were shifting uncomfortably, looking at their own numbers. "Face it, brothers," I continued. "Your strong leadership is driving this company into the ground. I'm offering you a way out before it's too late." "We built this company," David protested weakly. "No," I corrected him. "Dad built this company. You inherited it and nearly destroyed it with your greed and short-sightedness. I'm rebuilding it into something better." One of the board members cleared his throat. "Perhaps we should discuss this offer." Michael slammed his hand on the table. "We are not selling to her." "Actually," said Janet Morrison, the board's senior member, "that's not your decision anymore. The board has a responsibility to the shareholders." She turned to me. "We'd like to review your offer in detail." 2 weeks later, the acquisition was complete. I stood in the Sullivan Technologies lobby, now Green Horizon's second headquarters, watching my brothers clear out their offices. "You won't succeed," Michael spat as he walked past with his box. "You're still too soft." I smiled, remembering the champagne they'd drunk at my departure. "Being soft doesn't mean being weak, brother. It means knowing that true strength comes from lifting others up, not pushing them down." The transition wasn't easy. Many of Sullivan Technologies' executive team resigned rather than work for me. But the rank-and-file employees? They stayed and they thrived. We implemented all the changes my brothers had rejected. Comprehensive sustainability initiatives, employee profit sharing, flexible work policies. Within 6 months, the combined company's value had doubled. 1 year to the day after my brothers forced me out, I stood in the same boardroom where they'd orchestrated my removal. But now, I wasn't leaving in defeat. I was announcing our company's latest achievement, a $200 million valuation and recognition as one of the most innovative sustainable tech companies in the country. Maria, now our head of facilities management, turns out she had a master's degree in environmental science, brought me a coffee during the break. "Miss Catherine," she said with a smile, "your father would be so proud." I thought about my father, about how he'd built this company on values my brothers had forgotten. Innovation, integrity, and care for people and the planet. "You know what, Maria? I think he would be." The story made quite a splash in the business world. "Ousted Sister's Sweet Revenge" was actually the tamest headline. My brothers tried to save face, starting their own venture capital firm, but their reputation for toxic leadership followed them. Last I heard, They were struggling to attract investors. Me. I'm too busy to worry about them. Green Horizon is now valued at over $500 million, with offices in 3 countries. We're leading the industry in sustainable tech solutions, and our employee-first policies have become a model for other companies. Sometimes, when I'm working late, I walk through our offices, seeing the lives we've touched. Marcus is now running our R&D department, creating innovations that are literally changing the world. Sarah has built the most diverse sales team in the industry, shattering records and stereotypes. Even the cleaning staff are company shareholders, with full benefits and career development opportunities. Last week, I received an invitation to speak at my old business school about compassionate leadership in the modern economy. The irony wasn't lost on me. The same values my brothers mocked as soft are now being taught as the future of business. I had my assistant frame the champagne cork from the day they forced me out. It sits on my desk as a reminder that sometimes being underestimated is the greatest advantage you can have. The other day, I overheard some new employees sharing stories about why they joined Green Horizon. One young woman said something that made me smile. "This is the first company I've worked for where making the world better isn't just a slogan, it's actually how we do business." That's when I knew for certain I hadn't just beaten my brothers at their game. I'd changed the game entirely. They say success is the best revenge, but I disagree. The best revenge is creating something so meaningful that revenge becomes irrelevant. My brothers tried to write me out of our family's business story, but instead, they just gave me the push I needed to write a better one. A story where being soft means being strong enough to stand by your values. Where leadership means lifting others up, not pushing them down. Where success is measured not just in profits, but in the lives you improve and the world you leave better than you found it. That's the story I'm proud to tell. And it's only the beginning. Epilogue. Green Horizon continues to grow, not just in size, but in impact. We've launched an incubator program for sustainable tech startups, giving other innovators the support my brothers denied me. Our employee education program has helped dozens of staff, including former cleaning and maintenance workers, earn degrees and advance into management positions. Michael and David? They still won't speak to me, which is fine. The last time our paths crossed was at an industry conference where I was the keynote speaker. They sat in the back, looking uncomfortable as I discussed how soft leadership values had built a billion-dollar company. Sometimes I wonder if they ever regret their actions, if they've learned anything from watching their soft sister build something they couldn't even imagine. But honestly, I'm too busy creating the future to worry about the past. After all, the best response to being told you're too soft to lead isn't to become hard. It's to prove that softness, when backed by conviction and vision, is the strongest force of all. And that's exactly what I did. Thanks for watching. See you again in the next video. Stay stunned.